things that I have been harping on as of late when we talk about, well, if you have, let's say, Cornel West running in the Green Party or any type of movement, regardless of what you guys think, within a Democratic Party primary challenge, the fact of the matter is he is the president, and there's a lot of things that he could be doing right now in terms of, whether it is student debt, whether it is, a living wage, whether it is healthcare. There are tons of things that he could be doing, and he's not going to do it. And the fact that labor is not even attempting to extract anything at all is just insane. And the fact that it takes a periodical from someplace outside the United States to write this and just say, yeah, why is labor, running cover? Or I should stop saying labor. Why is union power running cover for Joe Biden and not asking for anything? I mean, literally nothing. If they think this is going to help them, and on top of everything else, the fact that they're doing this now reeks of desperation in the worst possible way. Your thoughts?
Well, at this point, I think America is on season 8 of a 5-season show. All of our institutions at this point are just past their prime. They're all sclerotic. They're all just completely hollowed out and corrupted. Our media doesn't report anymore. Our unions don't protect labor anymore. Our government does not set policy for the benefit of the citizens anymore. It's all of a piece. All of our institutions have been captured. I mean, they're all just completely hollowed out and corrupted. And this is part of what happens when you have this kind of obscene distribution of wealth, where you have so much wealth concentrated in this very small clique. They dictate everything. And everyone who's in any position to make any decisions, even if they go in with some good intentions, they sit those people down, man. They make it very clear to them what's going to happen to them if they continue. Okay, you want to be a smartass. You're going to lose this position, and somebody who plays ball is going to have it. I would argue there's an element of the decline of the national character in that, yeah, look, it was always a movie, but I think as a nation, we used to produce some Mr. Smiths who would go to Washington. I don't think as a culture we produce those people anymore. I think that we've become so narcissistic, self-indulgent, and just weak and morally decadent as a society that even when we do occasionally get somebody in there who might have gone in with good intentions, like some members of the squad, it's just not a nation that really creates people with backbone anymore. I think it's not hard to co-opt them, as demonstrated by look how fast that was. They got into Washington. I mean, it didn't take years, didn't take decades. They were Pelosi's lapdogs in months, really. I mean, maybe a year.
I think forced the vote exposed a lot of people. They really did.
It did.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, this is part of what was at stake in 2016 and again in 2020, because with an incumbent Democrat seeking re-election, this is par for the course. They're going to endorse the incumbent Democrat. Now, I agree with you, Peter. Did they have to do so this early and with no extraction of any promises whatsoever? Not that Joe Biden's promises are worth much. We all know that. But I would agree with you that this came way too soon. I mean, the AFL-CIO endorsed Biden in May of 2020, 6 months before the November vote. They're doing that almost a year ahead of schedule on this cycle. But once again, that's part of the consequence of having a Democratic president. These primary campaigns from Marianne and from RFK had no chance. They have no chance. And all of the institutions that are aligned with the Democratic Party are treating them exactly that way, as we knew would happen. And so, as veterans of the Sanders campaigns, this is what losing tastes like. Losing tastes bad. And when you lose, bad things happen down the road. And this is a product of that, which is why, we advocate on our show for a clean break. Cornel West would have to blow it really, really bad for me not to go into the voting booth on November 5th, 2024, not pull the lever for him. As everybody could see, I'm repping New York State. Which is a safe blue state. But if I were down where you guys are or out in whatever mountains you're in, Jen, I would vote for Cornel West anywhere and everywhere, and I would advocate everybody do so, because this road inside the Democratic Party leads to more of this. This is what you get. You get weak unions caving a year and a half before the vote, getting nothing out of it. Yeah, people are hungry to join unions, so why is labor so timid? Perhaps I like the work that Hamilton Nolan has done a lot. Perhaps he answers his own question in the headline, right? Perhaps the reason why union membership is on the rise is because these unions are becoming watered down. These unions are not threatening power in the way that they ought to be. And as a result, maybe they are allowed to expand more than they would be if they were threats. So, sorry to paint such a bleak picture, but that's what you have us here for by now, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm in the bathroom. I've got like my razor somewhere near here, because after Russell, I'm looking for it. But first of all, regarding Cornell,
we need the mafia back in charge of the unions. That's
you know what?
Opinion.
I agree. And
it worked better with the mafia in charge.
No, I often have said, imagine if we had somebody like Jimmy Hoffa. Like, that's the kind of crap that we need going on right now. I am with you on Cornell. Like, as of right now, I can't envision a universe wherein that's not who I vote for. Like, given where there would have to be something come down from, and this is hard as an atheist to project, but it would have to be something coming down from the heavens or something to change me on that. But we, for example, live in a very interesting place where if you don't run as a Democrat, you just can't participate. And every area and every district is different, and the strategy has to be different. And I understand you guys, we've talked about this before. I think the Democratic Party is where people go to die. Absolutely. And I think it depends on what is your mission with what you're doing. Is your mission to just go and sit in Congress and think you're actually going to get things through? Or is your mission to cause a serious uprising and be part of a revolution and try to incorporate labor and be as loud as you can for as long as you can? So different people, different missions. My idea for Cornell is I think he can get the 5%. And I think that is a very reasonable kind of goal, which would be really nice to see. The Green Party hasn't done it yet. I think he's the candidate that might be able to do that for them.
And even short of that, even if he gets 2%, if he gets 3%, if he starts polling at margins at or around, right? I mean, above would be great. But if he starts polling at margins at or around the differential between Biden and Trump, or Biden and whoever the GOP nominee is, that would be huge, right? Because that causes massive chaos in the system. It causes disruption. It causes panic, and that has to be the goal. And so 5% would be wonderful. I'd take 2% in Wisconsin if Biden's up by 1, or whatever. Or if Trump is up by 1, who cares? The point is, he can definitely, I think, get enough support to really cause a lot of panic and perhaps tip the scale to the Republican in the end. That's an outcome that we have to be okay with. And Cornell, to his credit, has been very upfront about that. He says, yeah, we have to be okay with that outcome. Because if you're not okay with that outcome,
you might as well not even start.
Then you may as well not do it. You have no leverage. That's like Ro Khanna say, he caved on the Build Back Better. He said, well, if we didn't cave, we would have gotten nothing. Well, that's the point, asshole. You have to be willing to take nothing. If you're not willing to take nothing, then you're not really negotiating. And so it's the same thing when it comes to Cornel West. You have to be willing to swallow the outcome that you might think of as the lesser evil. If it's DeSantis Biden, I think that's a question. If it's DeSantis Trump on World War III alone, I would have to say that at this point, given Biden's record on climate, immigration, wages, all these things, absolutely horrible. I would have to say Trump is probably the lesser evil to Joe Biden on the Ukraine war alone. And so that takes all the guilt out of it for anybody who's still neurotic enough to worry about, who do you blame? Oh, worst case scenario, World War III ends in a month as opposed to explode into a nuclear war that then leads to World War IV on the heels of that, right? So you just have to be willing to, have an outcome that, people on the left are not used to being willing to stomach. That's what it's going to take. And it's going to take everybody everywhere willing to deal with that in order to get him 5%. It's not, Democrats in blue cities and blue states are not going to be enough. You're going to have everybody just get the stomach to go in and vote for Cornell and let the chips fall where they may. That's what it's going to take.
I will.
That's
and
good.
I live
That's
in
great
Florida.
news because you guys are Florida people. So that's I'm very heartened by that.
I'm just saying, I touched on this a little bit when we had Jimmy Dore on. Be ready. If Cornell starts polling in a way that they find threatening, us and independent media, we're going to be the new anti-vaxxers for the media. They're going to come right at us, man. They're going to come right at us.
Well, no. They're going to come at you. We don't get that many people on our stream like you guys do. They're not going to come for, they suppress us so much that I don't even think they're worried about us reaching out.
We already got flagged for our Assange stream way back when.
Oh, really? They flagged him?
Yeah, we've been battling the hell out of the algorithm ever since. Sometimes we get lucky, but there is the one thing that cannot be denied is just this complete embracing of censorship from liberals, which is extremely disturbing to say the least.
Of course, yes.
But sort of the gist of this whole article is to say, you're talking about the earliest endorsement in the history of the AFL-CIO for a presidential candidate. Biden again declares himself the most pro-union president in American history. And so, in addition to that, what Hamilton basically highlights in this article is Biden signs a $36 billion bill to save union pensions. Okay, first of all, that is a pension bill for voters that they need to keep in the Democratic Party. Those are for older voters that have always been Democrats. They can't take any type of a risk with that particular demographic. It's already on thin ice to begin with. So that's just political posturing on his part. That's not something that's going to be benefiting workers in their 20s, 30s, and 40s right now. This is for the 60s and older crowd, if you will. They're claiming that his COVID relief and infrastructure bills were boons to union workers. No, actually, it was a corporate giveaway, and some unions will benefit as a result. His nominee for the NLRB general counsel has been tirelessly pushing invaluable labor reforms. Again, pushing doesn't mean getting done, and saying that he has used his bully pulpit to speak out in favor of union drives. He never spoke out in favor of Amazon workers unionizing in Staten Island. That's where you use your bully pulpit. That was to Bernie's credit. That was something he put himself on the front line for that Joe never did. So this argument that, Joe's arguing for people to unionize. Yeah, you can say that, but doing and saying are two completely different things. And to Hamilton's credit, he does mention that the single biggest labor issue on Biden's first term was the national rail strike, which he dealt with by crushing the workers' right to strike. As far as I'm concerned, there isn't anything else that really needs to be debated here. If you're going to break a strike, you do not deserve the support of labor, ever.
Of course not. No, it's a no-brainer. And you're right. I mean, the whole line that he's supported union drives, that's absolutely not true. What he has said is that companies should not union bust. No anti-union literature should be distributed at Amazon headquarters or posted over the urinals in the Starbucks bathrooms and stuff like that. And you think I'm joking, but they actually do that shit. Like a lot of companies actually post anti-union propaganda in the break room and all that stuff. And so that's what he's done. He's basically said it should be up to the workers, but he's never actually given the workers that kick of do it, right? Do it. It's good for you. Do it, right? Never has he actually done that. Not one single time. Not with Starbucks, not with Amazon, not with John Deere, Kellogg's, nobody. Actually, I'm not sure if Kellogg's was a union driver, if that was another strike. So sorry, I may have misspoken there. But anyway, point is, he's never forcefully taken a pro-labor stance in terms of actually backing a union drive when it mattered. And of course, the railroad worker thing was just absolutely horrible. I mean, we all covered that quite a bit.
Unforgivable.
Yeah.
Completely unforgivable. And it was done in such a way that it sent a message to every union to get your ass in line and don't even think about trying to stand up against this president who has always been, in most ways, anti-labor. He's a guy who has advocated for cutting Social Security, for God's sake.
He represents Delaware.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I mean, like, what would anybody think the person representing Delaware as a senator would be representing the regular guy?
No. I mean, Delaware, it's a fake state. It's basically like a Guantanamo Bay for corporate pirates. I mean, that's what it is. It's not even a real place. It's just this cutout of Maryland that they decided, we're going to make this a lawless corporate hellhole. That's what Delaware is.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.